In my past life, Shin Yenzhou, as the representative of the review panel, blocked my promotion for 10 years. He said, as my wife, you need to avoid any appearance of impropriety. It's only the second year. There will be other opportunities. The fifth year. Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to the younger generation. If the older generation hadn't stepped aside back in our day, would it have been so easy for us to get jobs at the research institute in the final year? I knew if I didn't get promoted, I'd have to step down, so I begged him desperately. But the very next day, at the top of the promotion list, was his white moonlight. This time he, who had always been so high-minded, actually used all his connections to have me eliminated once again. In my boundless regret, I was literally driven to my grave by sheer fury when I opened my eyes again. I had returned to the day I was supposed to retrieve my promotion application. Lin Rui, I'm off to work. Remember to go see the teacher later and get your leave of absence request back. The sound of the door closing echoed in my ears, and I jolted upright in bed, staring at this old house from 30 or 40 years ago. I finally understood. I had truly been reborn. It was 1977 again. It was the second year of our marriage. Shin Yenzhou and I were both admitted to the Northwestern Polytechnical University, but just last night, because Shin Yenzhou's mother broke her leg, we discussed it and decided I withdrew my request for a leave of absence, gave up the chance to go to university, and stayed on to work at the munitions factory. He, however, went ahead with the plan and left to attend university in the Northwest. The following year, I had intended to try for university again, but I became pregnant and had to put my plans on hold. After that, we lived apart for over a decade. All these years, I'd been raising my child and caring for my parents on my own, all while holding down a job. But just when I'd finally managed to become a technician and had just entered the research institute, Shin Yenzhou came back with his outstanding credentials. He became the head of the institute. After that, I spent 10 years trying to advance further, but I was blocked at every turn, year after year. In the first year, he failed me because I was his wife, and he was worried about gossip. He failed me. He told me to try again the following year. The next year, he said I still had a chance and should spend more time learning skills and knowledge. Even in the fifth year, I was still the one who got cut. I asked, humiliated, why did all the leadership at the research institute think my skills were solid, yet he was the one to reject me? He was silent for a moment, then said, Lin Rui, you should give more opportunities to the younger generation. If the older generation hadn't stepped aside back in our day, how could we have gotten into the research institute so easily? In my final year, knowing that if I didn't get promoted I'd have to step down, I begged him desperately. But the very next day, at the top of the promotion list was his white moonlight, the one he'd always pined for. This time he, who always puts on such a righteous front, actually used all his connections to have me knocked out of the running. Once again he robbed me of my final chance for a promotion. That's when I finally realized all those years we were apart, Shin Yenzhou was never alone. That person remained single for him, for life. No marriage, no children, all just to stay by his side. In the end, he couldn't bear to see her leave the research institute, so he eliminated me instead. The moment I saw the list, my eyes instinctively went to the two of them. Shin Yenzhou breathed a sigh of relief, and the woman wept with joy, and I felt like I had been sacrificed to their unspeakable, tacit understanding. At this thought, trembling, I covered my face. Tears fell like broken strings of pearls through my fingers, quickly soaking the bedding. That foolish decision, I spent a lifetime paying for it. After calming down, I quietly made and ate breakfast. Then I went to the factory to see the boss. The application, I haven't even submitted it yet. Why the change of heart? I smiled sheepishly. I'm truly sorry, sir. The manager waved his hand dismissively, returning the application to me. Comrade Lin, your admission to the Northwestern Polytechnic University is an honor for our factory as well. Just the day before yesterday, I was trying to persuade Comrade Shin, saying it would be a shame if you didn't go. I never expected you'd change your mind today. Well, it seems Comrade Shin's words really did the trick. I just smiled, thanked the supervisor after receiving the application form, and then left the factory. The moment I stepped out of the factory, I tore up the application and tossed it into the trash bin. Looking at the crumbs in the trash can, I couldn't help but let out a self-deprecating chuckle. So it turns out the boss had advised Shin Yenzhou to send me to the Northwest, yet he never mentioned a word about it. In fact, he even urged me to come pick up the application form sooner. In my past life, I sacrificed my own financial future and career prospects to support him, so he could focus on his studies without a worry. But what did he do? At university, he found a kindred spirit, a soulmate in female form, and for her sake, he blocked my promotion for an entire year. In the final year, he went even further, pulling every string and using all his connections just to protect his white moonlight, ensuring I was the one pushed out. I returned home with red-rimmed eyes. I sat there in a daze for what felt like ages before finally getting up to pack my luggage away. The new semester was approaching, and the journey was a long one. Shinyenjo had already taken the train ticket I'd bought earlier, saying he would return it for me when I booked the tickets. There were none left for the same day, so there's a one-day gap between my arrival and the trip to the Northwest. I'm leaving a day earlier, which means I have a ticket for tomorrow morning. I need to figure out how to get my ticket back, otherwise, buying a new one might be too late. I made lunch in silence. Let's just say it's for myself and Shinyenjo. Across all our past and present lives, consider it a farewell meal. Shinyenjo returned just as the final dish was being served. Here's the prescription. You'll need to pick up the medication from the pharmacy once a week from now on. Shinyenjo handed me the document he was holding. I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. How about we go to the photo studio together tomorrow for a picture? I remember my past life. Before he left, he also dragged me to take a photo. For the next decade or so, he lived freely and without a care while I spent my days clinging to that photograph, took care of his parents for him, looked after the children, and even sacrificed my own future. I gave a wry smile and said, "Fine, we'll talk about it when you can find me tomorrow." Over dinner, I asked him, "Oh, by the way, did you get my train ticket refunded?" Shinyenjo didn't even look up. "Not yet, I was planning to go this afternoon." "Why? Give me the ticket, I'll go and get it refunded." I paused for a moment. As it happened, I had some free time. Coincidentally, I needed to pick up a certificate this afternoon and was worried I wouldn't have time to return it. Shinyenjo handed the ticket to me. Clutching the ticket, I let out a huge sigh of relief. That afternoon, after Shinyenjo left, I took out all the things we used around the house. I gave some away as gifts and sold off whatever I could. That evening, when Shinyenjo returned, he brought his mother back with him. In my past life, Shinyenjo wasn't supposed to bring his mother over until tomorrow, so when I saw him bring her back, I was taken aback for a moment. What's with that look? Am I not welcome here? Shinyenjo was raised in a single-parent household. His mother had a tough time raising him all on her own. That's why he's so devoted to her. And she's a very strong-willed woman. In my past life, I understood her struggles, so I always went along with whatever she wanted. But even though I looked after her for over a decade, right up until she passed, she was still incredibly critical of me. Now that I've been reborn, I certainly won't indulge her anymore. "Shinyenjo didn't mention you were coming today, so the place isn't tidied up yet. You'll have to wait a moment." Hearing me call him by his full name, Shinyenjo gave me a surprised look, because I always used to call him Ayen. Thinking I was upset that he had suddenly brought his mother over, he hurriedly explained, "It just so happened that I had to pick up some documents today, and a friend with a car was available, so I took the opportunity to bring my mother over a bit early. Anyway, whether we pick her up today or tomorrow, it makes no real difference." Seeing her son trying so hard to please me, even feeling the need to justify bringing his own mother home, Mrs. Shin's expression darkened. Seeing his mother was upset, Shinyenjo quickly spoke up. "Let's give our room to Mom for now. We can stay in the other one. I don't mind. We're leaving tomorrow anyway, so it doesn't matter where she stays." Mother Shin moved into our room, and only then did her expression soften a little. However, she was far from settled. One moment she'd ask me to bring tea, the next to fetch water, and then even to wash her feet. I busied myself tidying the other room, pretending not to hear. Seeing my stern expression, Shinyenjo went ahead and did everything himself. By the time I finally finished packing the supplies and he collapsed onto the bed, he was complaining about how exhausted he was. "Rue, my mother is quite particular, so you'll need to be extra attentive to her from now on." "Alright, we wouldn't want her to feel less comfortable living here." I replied offhandedly. The moment I lay down on the bed, Shinyenjo pressed himself against me. I shifted away in annoyance. "Your mother is in the next room." His breath was hot on my neck, and his hand slipped under the hem of my shirt. "She won't hear a thing." But the moment he finished speaking, we heard Mrs. Shin call out, "Lin Rue, come help me to the bathroom." I closed my eyes with a bitter, mocking smile. Shinyenjo got up, resigned to his fate. "Where's your wife? How come it's you again? Go to bed now. I can manage on my own. You're meeting friends tomorrow and heading to the Northwest the day after. Don't wear yourself out." Immediately after, I heard a series of clattering and banging noises. It was clearly Mrs. Shin deliberately making noise to express her displeasure. I tuned out Mrs. Shin's words and quickly fell asleep. I woke up at 6 o'clock the next morning. Hearing me get up, Shinyenjo thought I was going grocery shopping. "Mom likes pork liver. See if you can buy some." I didn't look back. After washing up, I grabbed my already packed luggage and caught a ride to the train station. It wasn't until I arrived at the station that I realized how ravenous I was, so I hurriedly bought a few flatbreads from a stall outside. I had meant to make some flatbreads at home yesterday to eat on the journey, but then Shin's mother arrived. To avoid any trouble, I had no choice but to give up. After 4 days of rattling along on the train, I was completely exhausted by the time I reached the school. After getting all the paperwork sorted, I collapsed onto my dorm bed and slept like the dead. My roommates in the dorm woke me up just like me. They had all gathered here from every corner of the country. Once everyone had rested enough, we decided to head to the cafeteria together on the first official day of school. I didn't expect to see Shin Yenjo in class. After all, his mother still needs someone to look after her, but in the blink of an eye, I saw him push the door open and storm towards me. I was dragged roughly by Shin Yenjo out to the playground outside the classroom. Lin Rue, what on earth are you doing? Shin Yenjo looked furious, as if I had committed some unforgivable sin. What on earth are you doing? Didn't we agree that you would give up university and stay home to take care of mom? Why did you come to the Northwest behind my back? Don't you realize my mother is all alone at home with no one to look after her? What is she supposed to do now? Huh. With that, he grabbed me roughly and pulled me forward. Go on, pack your things, you're going home right now. I've already spoken to your teachers. I told them you're taking a temporary leave of absence. I wrenched my hand free from his grasp. What did you just say? Shin Yenjo sneered, looking at me. Lin Rue, what on earth are you making a scene about? Do you even know how to behave as a daughter-in-law? You left my mother at home alone while you're here enjoying yourself. How can you live with yourself? I stared blankly at Shin Yenjo, feeling that even after a lifetime with him in my past life, the person before me still felt utterly unfamiliar. So you're saying your mother is injured, as the daughter-in-law. It's only right that I give up everything to stay and care for her, and me coming here to attend the university I fought tooth and nail to get into. That's me making a scene. That's me living the high life. Is that what you mean? Seeing the utterly unfamiliar look in my eyes, Shin Yenjo's breath hitched. It seemed only now that he truly calmed down. He couldn't help but come over and take my hand. I'm sorry, Rue, it's my fault. I was just too worked up earlier, he explained, but that's only because I saw you were suddenly gone, and your things were gone too. But we had an agreement. You were supposed to put your studies on hold and stay home to look after mom. Didn't we settle this in advance? Yet here you are, without a single word. You just left that mess at home behind. What am I supposed to do now? Shin Yenjo looked utterly worn out. It wasn't just the sleepless nights on the train. The 2 days at home must have been just as rough. Exactly. Even in my past life, her mother was difficult to care for. When I was looking after her, I lost count of how many times I had to get up during the night for months on end. I barely got a full night's sleep, but whoever showed any understanding for the hardship I endured back then? And Shin Yenjo, he only took care of his mother for 2 measly nights, and now, all of a sudden, she's become a burden. I let out a cold laugh. Shin Yenjo, yes, we did agree that I would drop out of school to take care of your mother at home, but you've only been taking care of her for 2 days, right? How is it? Is this kind of life bearable? She's your own mother. Even you think it's a mess. How can you just dump this mess on me without a second thought? Shin Yenjo was furious. Why? Because she's my mother. That's your mother-in-law. What gives you the right? I lost my father when I was young. It was my mother who raised me and even helped me get married. My mother had everything planned out for me. But now, I've had enough. Shin Yenjo, you know perfectly well that she's your mother, yours, not mine. Your mother's hardships, her struggles, they weren't caused by you, her son, they were caused by your father, weren't they? But what gives you the right to demand that I, your daughter-in-law, pay for it, just because I married you? I'm supposed to give up everything and slave away for your Zhou family. Shin Yenjo, smack. Shin Yenjo, his anger boiling over, slapped me right across the face. My head was jerked to the side from the force. Oh my god, why are they fighting? Oh yeah, what happened? TSK, a grown man resorting to violence. What a disgrace. I pressed my tongue against my numb cheek. It was a long moment before I finally looked up. Shin Yenjo clasped his hands behind his back and said with remorse, Rue, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Let's get a divorce. Shin Yenjo, I said calmly. What? Shin Yenjo's face instantly drained of color. I said, let's get a divorce. After finishing my sentence word by word, I turned and walked toward the department head's office. To be honest, the thought of divorce had been with me since the very first day I came back to this life. It's just that, if I had brought it up back then, this trip probably wouldn't have gone so smoothly, so I've been holding it in all this time. But I never expected that Shin Yenjo would heartlessly leave his elderly mother behind and still come to school. What's even more despicable is that, the moment he arrived at school, he went to see the teacher on his own and told them I should drop out. Ha, easy for you to say, just try again next year. Never mind whether I could even pass next year. The sheer way he looked right through me was utterly revolting. In my past life, what did I ever get for him? For the children? For that marriage? It was him who found a soulmate in college. It was him who, after becoming my boss, blocked my promotions for 10 consecutive years. It was me who, every time I tried to tell our child about my grievances, found the child always taking his side, thinking that dad has it tough too. They thought it was just fine for me to stay home and take care of the two of them. As for my wishes, my dreams, my future, in their eyes, they were all worthless. I've taken the wrong path once before, and I absolutely will not let myself stumble again. When I explained to the department chair that Shin Yenjo's mother had only injured her leg and was not bedridden, requiring round-the-clock care, even the department head was at a loss for words. My grades were excellent, even surpassing Shin Yenjo's by a full 40 points. On top of that, I had worked at a military factory for 3 years and was an outstanding employee there. Not only did I possess some classified knowledge, but my mathematics scores were also particularly outstanding. In the eyes of the school leadership, my abilities were undoubtedly far superior to Shin Yenjo's, who got into university solely on academic merit. At that time, everyone was saying that women hold up half the sky. A great many scientists and researchers are women. Many women have even devoted nearly their entire lives to the pursuit of scientific research. So, the department head didn't think that just because I'm a woman, I should give up my own future to prop up a man who was already less capable than me. When the department head asked about the slap mark on my face, I naturally held nothing back and told Director Su all about how Shin Yenjo had hit me. Comrade Lin, you can stay here with peace of mind and focus on your studies. Our country needs talented people like you. Don't worry about anything else. You can go home with peace of mind. Hearing that from the school teacher finally put my mind at ease, as expected of a top-tier university in the country. The teacher didn't believe Shin Yenjo's words or think I should abandon my studies to care for the elderly, simply because of my gender. I thanked the teacher gratefully before finally returning to the classroom. I never found out how the school administration handled the matter afterwards. All I know is, after Shin Yenjo was called away that one time, he never brought up the subject of me dropping out to go home and take care of his mother again. As for me, I threw myself completely into my studies. It wasn't until over half a month later that Shin Yenjo stopped me again. Lin Rue, how long are you going to keep this up? It's been days. And you've never once asked if I'm eating well or keeping warm. You haven't even done the laundry. What exactly are you trying to do? I looked up. After staring at Shin Yenjo for a good while, I finally remembered that he had also come to the school. I rubbed my tired, sore eyes. First of all, I'm not making a scene. Secondly, whether you eat well, dress warmly, or even manage your own laundry, none of that has anything to do with me. I've told you before, we should get a divorce. If you come to your senses, we can go file the paperwork right away. If not, then please stay away from me. I have a stack of books waiting for me. I don't have time to waste on this nonsense with Shin Yenjo. Lin Rue, are you serious? You really want a divorce? Shin Yenjo seemed utterly incredulous. I thought I made myself perfectly clear the other day. I stared at him coldly. Shin Yenjo was incredulous. Just because I asked you to go back and take care of my mother, you want a divorce? And you've been giving me the cold shoulder for over half a month since the semester started. Is it really that serious? Before I could speak, someone called out from a distance, Shen. I looked up to see a woman in a white dress, her jet black hair cascading softly over her chest. She approached us and stopped beside Shin Yenjo. Shen, and this must be your wife. Then she turned to me, her eyes full of placating intent. Ma'am, I heard you insisted on coming here to study, leaving your mother-in-law behind. And you're still upset because Shin tried to reason with you. No offense, but as a daughter-in-law, you really should be filial. Otherwise, even a good man like Shin might grow cold-hearted. Shin Yenjo pursed his lips. Lin Rue, was what you just said true? Before I could speak, the woman cut in again, her curious gaze darting between us. What are you two talking about? Her wide, glistening eyes looked at me with curiosity. Sis, what did you say? Why is Brother Shen so angry? Wow, just a moment ago, it was Mr. Shen, now you're calling him so affectionately. I smirked. Who are you? This is a private conversation between husband and wife. What business is it of yours? You're awfully eager to jump in. Don't tell me you have designs on your dear brother Shen. I let out a contemptuous snort. The woman before me was named Anya. In my past life, she was Shin Yenjo's confidant from university, the woman for whom Shin Yenjo cast everything aside to have me removed during my final promotion year. Anya, however, what I never expected was this. In This lifetime, Shin Yenjo had only been at school for a little over half a month before he got tangled up with Anya again. It seems they really are fated to meet. Anya's initially curious and innocent expression was met with my sharp retort. She was stunned for a moment. Then her eyes quickly welled up with tears. How could you say that to me? Anya shot me a look of disbelief, then ran off in humiliation. Wiping away her tears, her white dress fluttered in the wind. Her slender figure looked as fragile as a piece of jade on the verge of shattering, a sight that tugged at the heartstrings. Lin Rue, how could you say such a thing? Shin Yenjo watched the woman run off with a pained heart, then turned to hurl vicious words at me. Slap! I swung my hand and slapped him hard. He covered his face, staring at me in disbelief. Lin Rue, have you lost your mind? Smack! I slapped him again with the back of my hand. Lin Rue. Shin Yenjo was furious and raised his hand. I took a step back. Shin Yenjo, I'm right here at school, and yet you're fooling around with another woman. Aren't you afraid I'll report you to the teacher? Shin Yenjo was livid. There's nothing between me and Anya, we're just kindred spirits. I almost gagged when I heard that. I walked past Shin Yenjo without a word and headed back to the dorm. Since they weren't doing anything too outrageous at the moment, I naturally had nothing to say. Besides, I didn't want to waste any more of my energy on them since Shin Yenjo doesn't want a divorce right now. We'll just let it drag on. The first semester passed by quickly due to my outstanding academic performance and prior experience working in a military factory. I was assigned a confidential mission just before the first semester break. I was to spend a year at a research institute. No one knew about this, naturally. I never mentioned it to Shin Yenjo either. A year passed in the blink of an eye. It wasn't until my work at the research institute reached a natural pause that I finally returned to school. Graduation was only 6 months away. I need to come back early to take care of some paperwork. After graduation, I'll be heading straight to the research institute. As soon as I got back, my roommates, whom I hadn't seen in ages, were each utterly surprised and delighted. We made plans to grab a meal at the cafeteria. I just never expected that the moment I walked in, I'd see Shin Yenjo and Anya sitting together, looking awfully cozy. They were practically leaning into each other, their movements intimate, just like a pair of deeply infatuated lovers. My roommate shot me an awkward glance. Lin Rue, you didn't know, did you? Your husband, Shin Yenjo, is a real star on campus because of his top grades. He has a lot of secret admirers. See that one over there? She's the one he's closest with. I knew right away that my roommate was talking about Anya. I nodded, but didn't say a word. Shin Yenjo was naturally good-looking and an excellent student to boot. If it weren't for that, Anya in her past life wouldn't have remained unmarried for his sake, ultimately becoming something of an eternal, idealized memory for him. It was just between the two of us, but there was already plenty of gossip swirling around the school since I, the person most involved, hadn't said a word. Everyone just kept their observations to themselves. But now that I'm back, I think it's time to finally put my divorce from Shin Yenjo on the agenda. I took a step forward, closing the distance. Having a meal. Shin Yenjo and Anya paused, their eyes lifting to meet mine in unison. Lin Rue. Shin Yenjo shot to his feet. When did you get back? Where have you been all this year? In stark contrast to Shin Yenjo's agitation, Anya remained expressionless, standing beside him. She fixed me with a hostile glare. I hear the two of you have been inseparable at school, flaunting yourselves all over the place. So, Shin Yenjo, how about we get a divorce? Shin Yenjo's expression changed instantly, and he immediately put distance between himself and Anya. Anya, on the other hand, instinctively looked at me. You're really willing to get a divorce? Her roommates shot her a look of contempt. Though no words were spoken, she understood the meaning perfectly well. Anya's face flushed, but she held her ground against the mocking gazes of the crowd, her eyes fixed steadily on me, as if demanding an answer. She pressed, are you really willing to get a divorce? Shin Yenjo was about to say something, but seeing Anya's courage, he too seemed moved. He tightly grasped Anya's hand, looked at me, and said, fine, since you want a divorce, I'll grant your wish. I nodded, and that very day, Shin Yenjo and I went to get our divorce certificate. Right after the divorce, I headed straight to the principal's office. I had compiled detailed documentation about Shin Yenjo's affair with Anya during my year away and presented it to the principal. Compared to Shin Yenjo, a student with excellent grades on paper but questionable character, the principal assured me he would give me a satisfactory resolution. A few days later, I heard that Anya had dropped out. Of course, she and Shin Yenjo had already gotten their marriage certificate before she left. My roommate was incredibly nosy. You wouldn't believe it. The school gave them an ultimatum. Only one of them could stay, but that Anya, she actually volunteered to drop out herself, just so that classmate Shin could stay. TSK. Do you have any idea how hard it is for a family to put a child through university? and she just threw it all away. For a man, I simply can't wrap my head around it. I shook my head with a bitter smile, and she's certainly not the only fool like that. In my past life, it was me, but in this life, it's Anya. Yet the one who benefits, in both cases, is Shinyenjo. I have to say, whether in the past life or this one, Shinyenjo is a master manipulator. After Anya left, Shinyenjo started showing up around me all the time. He claimed that if I weren't so stubborn and inconsiderate of him, he wouldn't have had to divorce me. He also kept probing, asking where I'd been all year and what my plans were now. I heard through the grapevine that the school is planning to select 3 people for the research institute. I had excellent grades, yet I vanished for an entire year. No one had any idea where I went during that time. Shinyenjo, however, was sharp enough to suspect that I might have been on some secret mission, and that I could now be a contender for the research institute spot he was after. I turned a blind eye to all his probing attempts. The truth is, Shinyenjo has no idea selecting personnel for the research institute was actually one of the reasons I came back. As for Shinyenjo, who maintains decent grades on the surface but spends most of his energy being all lovey-dovey with Anya, he was never within the scope of my consideration. Soon enough, the day to announce the list arrived. On that day, the school auditorium was packed. Many people watched the school official seated on the stage with nervous anticipation. As soon as the time came, the official took out a list and read out the names of the 3 individuals selected for the research institute. From the side of the stage, I saw Shinyenjo clench his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white. As Xiao Zhang's voice slowly faded away, I watched the color drain from Shinyenjo's face. Zhou Weigua, Zhongqing, Lu Jing among the 3 names, none of them is him. I looked at Shinyenjo's deathly pale face. It was as if I was seeing a past life. Time and again, I stood before Shinyenjo in his role as a judge, like a sinner facing trial, when everyone else declared me innocent. Shinyenjo, this man, my own husband, has sentenced me to death time and again in this new life. It turns out I am the one who holds the gavel. Watching Shinyenjo's dream slip through his fingers brings me such profound satisfaction. Don't you dare accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain. Among the 3 candidates I selected, Zhou Weigua's academic performance is better than Shinyenjo's. Zhang Cheng's practical skills are superior to Shinyenjo's. As for Lu Jing, he is a talent who has returned from abroad, and the core technology he possesses is even more advanced and impressive than my own. Why would I choose Shinyenjo over someone like this? That would be a dereliction of my duty. Alright, those are the 3 individuals selected to join the research institute this time. Next, let's give a round of applause and welcome Engineer Lin from the Research Institute, who is here for the selection, to come up and speak. Let's give a warm welcome. The principal's words had barely faded. I was then invited onto the stage. I watched Shinyenjo in the audience suddenly stand up. A pair of eyes bore into me, as if I had done something to wrong him. I averted my gaze, refusing to look at him. Just after finishing my speech and stepping out of the auditorium, my hand was seized in a fierce grip. Lin Rue, Shinyenjo's eyes were bloodshot. Why are you the selection officer for the research institute? Why did you choose the 3 of them, but not me? Is this you abusing your power for personal revenge? Do you hate me for divorcing you and remarrying? Do you think I won't report you for corruption? I wrenched my hand from Shinyenjo's grip and said coldly, do whatever you want. Behind me, Shinyenjo slammed his fist hard against the wall. Lin Rue, you'll regret this. That same day, I was summoned to the office. In the office, Shinyenjo stood with his neck stiff, clearly seething with resentment. Comrade Lin, it's clear that student Shen is deeply dissatisfied with the personnel selection. Not only did he come to see me, but he also sent a formal complaint to the Research Institute, accusing you of abusing your authority for personal gain. So, please explain to us why you chose the other 3 candidates instead of Shen. The principal gave Shinyenjo a wry smile, as if to say Shen should accept the outcome. Shinyenjo's face paled, but he kept his eyes fixed intently on me. I sighed, placed the prepared documents on the table, took a step back, and said to Shinyenjo, take a look at these. Shinyenjo's resentful gaze fell upon that stack of documents. Only after he had finished reading through them did he stumble out of the principal's office. Utterly dejected, he had lost this battle completely. The documents indicated that the other 3 individuals surpassed him in every conceivable aspect. 2 of them, in particular, had quietly published remarkable insights in their respective fields. Even Zhou Weigua had been received by the senior leadership. As for him, Shinyenjo, he was merely a student with slightly better grades and a handsome face, someone who was overly praised within the school. Even students like him were a dime a dozen on campus. Even among this large pool of Students, Shin Yenzhou wouldn't necessarily rank in the top 10 with his record. How could Shin Yenzhou have the nerve to accuse me of abusing my power for personal gain? I took my 3 students and vanished from public view under the cover of night. By the time I returned home again, 20 years had already passed, and as for me, I'd become the director of the research institute. Mom, is this where you used to live? My 2 adopted children looked at the city I had lived in for over a decade with wide-eyed curiosity. I smiled and said, yes, look here. This used to be a military factory. Your mother worked here for 3 years. It's a shame, but the factory has long since become just an ordinary steel mill. It's nothing like I remember it anymore. Huh, is that you, Lin Rue? I was surprised the security guard even recognized me. He stepped out of the guardhouse. Oh, are you really Engineer Lin? I heard you're at the research institute now. When did you get back? I didn't expect the security guard to still remember me, so I chatted with him for a bit before I could say much more. A door nearby suddenly swung open, and a man was chased out by a woman wielding a broom. Bah, I've slaved away for you all my life, and you dare fool around with another woman. Get out. As the door slammed shut, the man turned with a dark expression, about to say something, when he suddenly noticed our group. The man was taken aback for a moment. Lin Rue, Shin Yenzhou, whose appearance had changed drastically yet who remained as lean as ever, strode toward me. Mom, my son stepped forward, instinctively shielding me. My daughter also held my arm tightly, protecting me. Mom, Shin Yenzhou glanced at the 2 of them, then looked past them, his gaze settling on me. Lin Rue, is that really you? You're back. I no longer care about what happened in the past, so, when facing Shin Yenzhou, I was remarkably calm and composed. Seeing that we seemed to know each other, my son finally stepped aside. Shin Yenzhou's gaze remained fixed on me. Lin Rue, are they both your children? Did you remarry? I simply nodded, then took my son and daughter to the government guest house and left that place. I still find it hilarious. What on earth makes Shin Yenzhou think I wouldn't get married just for him? Although, for various reasons, I'm really not in a position to have children anymore, but my husband loves me very much. My son and daughter are also orphans of comrades who gave everything for the country, and they are both very filial. My career is going smoothly, and my family life is harmonious. I feel that in this life, I am much more content than I was in my previous one. In the evening, many old friends gathered. I heard that Shin Yenzhou is now a teacher at a school. Back then, it was because he divorced me. He was also carrying on with Anya at the school, so his reputation was already ruined. And when I was selecting candidates for the research institute, because I didn't choose Shin Yenzhou, he went so far as to write a letter to the institute to report me. Although the full story eventually came to light for both the university and the research institute, however, in the eyes of the leadership at both the university and the institute, the name Shin Yenzhou was permanently marked with a black cross. As a result, during job assignments after graduation, Shin Yenzhou was unceremoniously sent back to his hometown by the university and placed in the military factory where I once worked, and every year he tried to get into the research institute, only to be rejected time and again. Convinced I was still the one obstructing him, he wrote several more letters to report me. Unfortunately, I was not the one in charge of the subsequent selection processes, as I was repeatedly proven innocent. The name Shin Yenzhou was permanently blacklisted by the research institute. Someone with such a muddled mind, the research institute couldn't afford him. In the end, even the military factory wouldn't take him. He had no choice but to become an administrative teacher at a school. When talking about this, someone mentioned Anya. They say Anya became a housewife after marrying Shin Yenzhou. Over the years, she not only had to care for her mother-in-law but also look after the children, and their life together has been nothing short of chaotic. The 2 of them fought constantly at home. As a result, Shin Yenzhou and Anya became the laughingstock of the entire neighborhood. I just smiled when I heard that. Let bygones be bygones. In a few days, I'll be returning to my post. What does any of this have to do with me? Story 2. My fiancé's ex-girlfriend fell into the sea. After she was rescued, she claimed I pushed her to get back at me for her. My fiancé locked me in the freezer. Chan can't swim, and you still pushed her into the sea. How could you be so vicious? You stay in the freezer and think about what you've done. I'll let you out when the engagement party starts. I told him I was pregnant and begged him not to lock me in the cold storage. He just said, "Don't think you can win sympathy that way." I watched his retreating figure in despair. He didn't know his mother had been diagnosed with aplastic anemia. His mother has Rh-negative blood, and I'm the only one who can save her because I'm Rh-negative too. Lock her in the cold storage. Don't let her out until the engagement banquet begins. Standing on the cruise ship deck, my breath caught. I thought I must have misheard, but Jiang Yanbei didn't spare me Another glance, Jiang Yanbei, have you lost your mind? The banquet is at 10 tomorrow morning, I'll freeze to death in there with 12 whole hours to go. I roared in disbelief. He glanced down at me. You made a mistake, so you face the consequences. Stay in there and think about what you've done. I didn't push her. I yelled an explanation. She jumped on her own. The surveillance footage will prove it. Enough. He cut me off impatiently. I saw her fall right in front of you with my own eyes. If you didn't push her, did she just fall all by herself? Tang Chanqian, wrapped in a towel and wiping away tears, sobbed, I can't swim. Why would I ever joke with my own life like that? Jiang Yanbei glared at me furiously. Did you hear that? Chanqian can't swim, and you still pushed her into the sea. How could you be so cruel? You can't lock me up. I'm pregnant. I suddenly spoke up. I was going to tell you tomorrow at the engagement party. He paused, a flicker of surprise in his eyes. Really? Tang Chanqian suddenly spoke up in a small voice. Yurao, are you saying this now so Yanbei will just let the matter slide? I am not. I glared at her. Jiang Yanbei's face darkened. Lin Yuyao, when did you become such a good liar? I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. Jiang Yanbei refused to believe her. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. Someone, take her to the cold storage. 2 bodyguards arrived and seized me. I struggled. Jiang Yanbei, I'm really pregnant. You can't lock me up. Take her away. Seeing not a flicker of hesitation in him, I shouted, your mother has been diagnosed with aplastic anemia. The doctor said there's no matching bone marrow available for now, and only my regular blood transfusions can save her. At that moment, Zhang's mother walked over and slapped me across the face. What kind of awful thing is that to say? Are you trying to curse me to an early grave? Jiang Yanbei sneered. My mother is perfectly healthy. She doesn't need your kind of venomous woman putting on a false show of kindness. You insisted on laying hands on Chanqian. You don't even know you're wrong, and you're full of lies. You deserve to be locked in the cold storage to think about what you've done, Mrs. Jiang snorted coldly. You've completely ruined what should have been a perfect engagement party, and using pregnancy as an excuse. I wonder what the Lin family taught you. Tears streamed down my cheeks as my entire body trembled. Take her away, Jiang Yanbei said impatiently, waving a dismissive hand. Let her out tomorrow morning at 10, when the banquet begins. Tang Chanqian gave a light cough, a smile playing on her lips, but her eyes were brimming with smug satisfaction. Yurao, I'm sorry, I really didn't think you'd be so petty, still not trusting me and Yanbei after all these years. We're really just friends now, nothing more. I was dragged away. Sobbing, they shoved me into the freezer at the back of the kitchen. The door slammed shut with a clang, followed by the sound of a lock turning. A blast of frigid air hit me. Instantly, my hands and feet went numb, and my breathing grew ragged. I leaned against the wall and slid down, pulling my knees tightly to my chest. Before long, a sharp, stabbing pain shot through my abdomen too. Instinctively, my hand flew to the spot, right where my baby was. The baby is only just over a month along. It's very easy to miscarry. I braced myself against the wall to stand up, staggered to the door, and started pounding on it while shouting into the intercom mounted on the wall. Is anyone there? Let me out. I'm pregnant. I'll lose the baby. Please, open the door. The intercom crackled twice. Someone was outside. Who's there? Open the door. Quick. My stomach. It hurts so bad. The person outside was one of the younger kitchen staff. A voice came through the intercom. Mr. Zhang's orders. We can't open it. I'm his fiancé. I'm really pregnant. This could get someone killed. He hesitated, but didn't dare touch the door. Go get your head chef. Let him talk to me. I'm begging you. A moment later, the head chef arrived. I begged him through tears. Please, let me out. My stomach hurts so much. I'm scared I'm having a miscarriage. Miss Lin, I'm sorry, Mr. Jiang said everything you're saying is a lie, and we can't believe a word of it. I pounded on the door. I'm begging you. Just let a doctor see me. That's all I ask. I'm not lying. My stomach really, really hurts. He replied coldly. We can't open the door. If you're really fine and we open it, Mr. Jiang will fire us. We don't dare then. The intercom fell silent. My heart sank completely. I slid down against the door and sat back on the floor, my legs too stiff to move. The pain in my abdomen grew more and more frequent, a sharp, twisting sensation gritting my teeth. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the ring. This was the engagement ring Jiang Yanbei gave me. The design we had agreed to create together from the very beginning on my own. I had added an inscription, planning to surprise him by telling him it was for the 3 of us. Looking back now, it's all so ridiculous. I watched the ring on my fingertip and slowly let go. The ring fell to the floor with a clear, sharp sound, and then lay there, perfectly still. The cold seeped into me, and my body temperature kept dropping. I don't know how much time had passed when a sudden, sharp pain tore through my abdomen. I curled into a ball, feeling a warm flow slowly seeping from between my legs. It was blood. Panic set in. I struggled to my feet and began pounding on the door. "Let me out. I'm bleeding. Open the door." There was no response. I didn't give up. I kept pounding on the door until I could no longer lift my hand or utter a word. Finally, I collapsed onto the floor, my cheek pressed against the cold tiles, my entire body going numb. Just as my consciousness was about to slip away, the walkie-talkie crackled to life. "Who's in there?" Summoning the last of my strength almost instantly, I cried out, "Help me, sister." "Yurao," that was Nzishin's voice. Nzishin is an orphan I sponsor. "I can't believe he's on this cruise ship too." 3. I forced out a desperate cry. "Open the door, please, help me." I heard his frantic reply, "Hold on, I'm coming." A few seconds later, the freezer door was pushed open from the outside. A rush of warm air flooded in, my vision blurred and darkened, and I nearly blacked out. "Sister Yurao, what happened to you?" Nzishin rushed in and went pale at the sight of me covered in blood. He took off his jacket, wrapped it around me, crouched down, and hoisted me onto his back. "Hang in there, the kitchen's empty, everyone's asleep. I'm taking you to a doctor right now." I leaned against his back, my lips trembling and turning purple. "Help me, the baby, save the baby." He ran outside, shouting at the top of his lungs, "Is anyone there? A doctor, we need a doctor." I closed my eyes, finally unable to hold on any longer. It was late at night on the ship, and most of the service staff had gone down to rest. He slipped into the staff corridor and found a steward who was still cleaning. "Quick, take us to the infirmary, she's bleeding." The steward took one look at me, covered in blood, and recoiled in fright. "The doctor isn't here." "What do you mean, isn't here?" Nzishin shouted anxiously. "All the doctors have gone to cabin 1, Mr. Jiang said." Miss Tang caught a chill from falling in the water and needs priority care. "He's pulled all medical staff over there. She just has a cold," Nzishin said through nearly gritted teeth. "Yes, it seems like he's running a fever." General Manager Jiang said there can't be any mistakes. I listened to them talking, my mind a complete mess, my ears ringing. "The child, we can't wait any longer." I tried to speak, but as soon as I opened my mouth, only the metallic taste of blood rose in my throat. "She needs emergency treatment to stop the bleeding. Now, get a doctor." Nzishin growled, "Get someone back here, now, just one person is enough." "I'm not authorized to decide," Director Jiang said. "Get out of my way." Without another moment's hesitation, Nzishin sprinted straight for the stern of the deck, where the lifeboats were stored. He lifted me into the boat, settled me into a seat, and pulled the emergency release. The craft slid slowly into the sea. "Hang in there, Sister Yurao, I'll get you back to shore right away." Nzishin took off his hoodie and wrapped it around me, then covered my abdomen with a survival blanket. He started the engine while simultaneously calling the hospital's emergency center. The person on the other end responded promptly, saying they would arrive at the shore within half an hour. "Hang in there, Sister Yuyao. I've already alerted the hospital's emergency services. You're going to be okay." I wanted to say thank you, but then I was completely swallowed by darkness when I came to again. I was lying in a hospital bed. "Sister Yurao, you're awake." It was Nzishin. I strained to turn my head toward him. "The baby." He lowered his head, his voice barely a whisper, yet I heard every word. "The baby, we lost it." In that instant, it felt like a blunt force had slammed into my chest, for I closed my eyes, tears slipping from the corners into the pillow. "Because you were in the cold storage for too long, and the blood loss was significant. The doctor said the uterus has sustained irreversible damage." My fingers trembled. "It's possible, you may not be able to get pregnant again." His voice trembled with emotion as he spoke. I had no strength left, and could only stare blankly at the ceiling. I had been daydreaming about what our little family of 3 would be like once the baby arrived. Seeing my silence, Nzishin said angrily, "He's trying to destroy you for that other woman, Sister Yuyao. He doesn't deserve you." Even Nzishin could see that Tang Chanqian and Jiang Yanbei were never just friends. I let out a bitter laugh. I was such a fool to have believed them all along, but now, with the child gone, my heart has completely died. I lowered my gaze. "He truly isn't worthy." Nzishin stood up. "Sister Yuyao, don't go with him." I clenched the blanket and said calmly, "Let me borrow your phone." He handed me his phone immediately. I dialed out, pressing a familiar string of numbers. A cold, detached voice came through. "Hello, who is this?" Hearing his familiar voice, I couldn't hold back my tears. "It's me, Yurao." His tone turned urgent. "What's wrong?" "I want to go home." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Where are you?" Binhai Hospital, East District Branch, wait for me. I'm coming to get you. His tone was ice cold on the cruise ship. The engagement party was about to begin. Jiang Yanbei and Tang Qianqian had just emerged from cabin 1. Tang Qianqian held his arm, her makeup flawless and her complexion glowing. Jiang Yanbei turned and gave instructions to his assistant waiting by the door. Go release Lin Yuyao. Tell her to hurry up and get changed so we don't miss the engagement ceremony. The assistant acknowledged and turned toward the kitchen. Jiang Yanbei escorted Tang Qianqian into the banquet hall. Guests began to take their seats, and a low murmur of conversation filled the room, with the Lin and Jiang families joining forces. No one in our circle would dare cross them now. By the way, where's the bride? The ceremony is about to start and she's still nowhere to be seen. Backstage, the host was doing a sound check while the stage manager hurried everyone along. Jiang Yanbei glanced at his wristwatch, his brow furrowed slightly. Why isn't she here yet? Mrs. Jiang also wore an impatient expression. Are we going ahead with this engagement or not? If not, let's not waste any more time. She might as well have stayed frozen in that cold storage. Tang Qianqian coughed twice and said weakly, she's not still upset with me, is she? Is that why she's not coming? Jiang Yanbei's face darkened. She's the one who messed up, and she still dares to throw a tantrum. She's coming whether she likes it or not. Just as he was about to send someone to drag me over, the banquet hall doors suddenly swung open. His assistant rushed in, flustered. Mr. Jiang, something terrible has happened. The entire room fell silent in an instant. Jiang Yanbei turned his head, his tone dropping several degrees. What happened? The assistant gasped for breath, speaking in a panic. We found a large amount of blood in the cold storage, but Miss Lin is gone. 5. The banquet hall erupted. In an uproar, guests rose to their feet, murmuring amongst themselves, what, blood, someone's missing. Are you talking about Lin Yuyao? Jiang Yanbei's brow furrowed tightly, his face darkening. Don't talk nonsense. What could possibly happen to her? The assistant wiped sweat from his brow. Mr. Jiang, it's true, the door to the freezer behind the kitchen is open. There's blood all over the floor, but she's gone. Mother Jiang snapped. What nonsense are you talking? If you don't believe me, go and see for yourself. Jiang Yanbei snorted coldly, pushed through the crowd, and strode quickly toward the rear cabin. Mother Jiang's expression also changed, and she followed. Tang Qianqian followed behind, her expression a complex mix of emotions, walking with a soft, persistent cough. The freezer door stood wide open, a torrent of frigid air still pouring out. On the floor, a shocking amount of blood formed a vivid crimson trail stretching from a corner to the doorway. On the ground lay a ring, starkly conspicuous in a pool of blood. Jiang Yanbei picked up the ring, and his face instantly changed. This is our engagement ring. He also noticed the 3 letters I had specially engraved on the inside of the ring. Bandian Wai Bei, Yen, Yao. Yen was a name they had chosen for their future child during a heartfelt conversation about their dreams, a name that would work beautifully for either a boy or a girl. The moment Jiang Yanbei saw the letter, he knew. A dull ache gripped his chest. Clutching the ring, he roared, where's the surveillance footage? His assistant immediately handed him a tablet. The footage began to fast forward. I collapsed on the floor, my body curled into a tight ball, my face deathly pale, and a pool of bright red blood soaking the space between my legs. I struggled to pound on the door, but in the end, I couldn't even lift my hand. My whole body convulsed as I fell. A few minutes later, a figure rushed into view. It was Zixin. He got me out of there. The surveillance footage froze on that frame, a shocking scene of blood spreading across the floor. Jiang Yanbei's face turned deathly pale. Mrs. Jiang swayed on her feet. My grandchild, she really was pregnant. Tang Qianqian chimed in at that moment. Could it be? She was in cahoots with Zixin all along. What? Why else would he be in such a rush to save her? Look how smoothly he moves. Were they already involved? Otherwise, running off like that is just too strange, isn't it? Enough. Jiang Yanbei let out a furious roar, his gaze turning icy cold. Lin Yuyao would never cheat. She wouldn't gamble with her own life or the child she's carrying. Tang Qianqian's face paled, her voice softening. I was just worried you were being deceived. He would never lie to me. Jiang Yanbei suddenly realized what he had just said. Everything I said yesterday was true. Panic set in. Quick, check all the surveillance on the cruise ship. Find out where they are. Yes. Soon after, he learned that I had been taken away by Zixin in a lifeboat. He immediately ordered, turn back now. Contact the hospital. Find out where Lin Yuyao is. Now. Mother Jiang also said, ask the hospital if the baby is safe and how she's doing. Tang Qianqian panicked a little, grabbing Jiang Yanbei's arm. It's the engagement party today. Is it really okay to turn back like this? She's not even here. What's the point of an engagement? Jiang Yanbei roared, Tang Chanqian suggested. Then why don't I step in for now? Jiang Yanbei suddenly fixed his gaze on Tang Chanqian, making her too intimidated to continue speaking. Did she really push you yesterday? He asked, his tone laced with skepticism. Mrs. Jiang also stared at her with a look of deep suspicion. Tang Chanqian paused, then nodded emphatically. Of course not. Why would I lie about something like that? Jiang Yanbei gritted his teeth. You'd better not be lying to me. But half an hour later, he realized they had been deceived. 6. Still suspicious of Tang Chanqian, Jiang Yanbei had someone check the surveillance footage. The surveillance footage clearly showed that Tang Chanqian jumped into the sea entirely of her own accord, when no one else was around. After seeing it, all the color drained from Jiang Yanbei's face. He slammed his fist hard against the wall and growled, "You were playing me." Tang Chanqian took a step back, her voice weak. "I just wanted to see if you cared about me. I never thought things would turn out like this." Jiang Yanbei's eyes turned red with rage as he raised his hand and slapped her. "If you hadn't slandered her, I would never have locked her in the cold storage. She's pregnant. It's freezing in there. If anything happens to her or the baby, I will make you pay." Tang Chanqian opened her mouth, but no words came out. The assistant entered with a phone. "Mr. Jiang, Miss Lin is at Binhai Hospital. According to the doctor, she was in critical condition when she was brought in last night. And she lost the baby. Her uterus was damaged. She can't have children anymore." Jiang Yanbei's steps faltered, and his voice instantly grew hoarse. "My child, Yurao." Zhang's mother attacked Tang Chanqian like a woman possessed. "You bitch, give me back my grandson, give him back." Tang Chanqian screamed, beaten and sobbing uncontrollably. Just then, Mrs. Jiang suddenly froze, clutching her chest as her breathing grew rapid and shallow. "Mom." As Jiang Yanbei rushed forward, Mrs. Jiang collapsed, losing consciousness. Jiang Yanbei urgently called for a doctor, who examined her and said she was showing symptoms of anemia and was in immediate need of a blood transfusion. Jiang Yanbei's mind went blank with a deafening buzz. Lin Yuya's words, spoken just before she was locked in the freezer room, flashed through his mind. "Your mother was diagnosed with aplastic anemia. The doctor said there's no matching bone marrow available for now, and only my regular blood transfusions can save her." His face instantly paled, and he immediately ordered the crew to increase their return speed. Upon arriving at the dock, he immediately drove to Binhai Hospital. After having his mother settled in, the doctor informed him, "Your mother has a rare blood type. Unfortunately, to save a young woman who had a miscarriage yesterday, we've exhausted our entire supply of Rh-negative blood. The only option now is to find a donor with that blood type, but it's extremely rare at the moment. The only potential donor appears to be Miss Lin, the very woman we treated yesterday." Jiang Yanbei's face instantly drained of all color. "Who did you say it was?" he asked, his voice hoarse. "Lin Yuyao," the doctor repeated. "During her emergency treatment yesterday, the hospital used the last of its stock of Rh-negative blood. She lost too much blood. If it hadn't been a perfect match, she might have already." Before the doctor could finish speaking, his entire body went rigid. "It was all because of him. If he hadn't locked me in the freezer, I wouldn't have miscarried and lost blood, and I wouldn't have used up the hospital's supply today. Mrs. Jiang would have had blood for her transfusion. Jiang Yanbei was still counting on me to donate blood. After getting my room number, he immediately rushed out, but at the door, he was stopped by an orderly. "Sir, Miss Lin has said she is not receiving visitors. I'm her fiancé. My mother needs her blood to save her life. I have to see her." The orderly was taken aback for a moment, then regained her composure. "Miss Lin has given strict instructions. She will not see anyone who comes asking for her blood. She also made it clear she will not be a donor." 7. Jiang Yanbei stood frozen in place. "No treatment," she said. "No treatment for Mrs. Jiang, and no visitors either." The caregiver repeated. Jiang Yanbei's expression darkened by degrees. "I just need to see her once, to say a few words, just a few words. A life is at stake. I'm sorry." She was very clear. "She refuses to meet." Jiang Yanbei clenched his jaw. In the end, he said nothing and turned to leave. Back in the hospital room, Zhang's mother remained unconscious in bed. The doctor sighed repeatedly. "If we can't find a matching blood type soon, we'll have to rely on high-pressure medication to sustain her. It's uncertain how long she can hold on." Jiang Yanbei leaned against the wall outside the ward, silent. A nurse came out and said Zhang's mother had woken up. He walked in. Mrs. Jiang looked at him, her voice weak. Did you find the blood? Jiang Yanbei hesitated for a moment and shook his head, still trying to get in touch. Isn't Yu Yao Rh negative? She asked. His voice was low and heavy. She refused. Why won't she save me? I'm her future mother-in-law. How can she be so heartless? Jiang Yanbei's eyes reddened. Mom, if we hadn't doubted her, if we hadn't caused her miscarriage and nearly let her freeze to death, she wouldn't be refusing us. Today, Mother Zhang's face froze, and she fell silent. Meanwhile, in the East Wing ward of Binhai Hospital, I was leaning against the hospital bed, my face pale but my gaze steady. My own brother, Lin Sheng, sat nearby, still clutching the medical report. Has Jiang Yanbei been here? He asked. I said flatly, yes, but I didn't see him. My brother looked at me, his expression softening. That was the right call. Someone like him doesn't deserve to see you again. I nodded. My child is gone, and I can't have another. I stared out the window. My brother comforted me. You still have me. I'll find the best doctors for you, brother. I couldn't hold back my tears. I don't want to stay in this city anymore. I'll take care of it, my brother said. When do you want to leave? Tonight. All right. My brother stood up. He looked at me and said, he hurt you so badly. I won't let him get away with it. You, do whatever you want, brother. I don't care anymore, I said. My brother nodded. I understand. Jiang Yanbei mobilized almost all of his resources. He contacted blood banks, private reserves, even overseas sources, all to no avail. Rh-negative blood was scarce, and blood compatible with Mrs. Zhang's was even rarer. He made dozens of calls himself and stayed up all night. Through my brother's maneuvering, Tang Qianqian's self-produced video was posted online. It included her framing me and my being locked in the freezer, though my face was blurred out. The short, few-minute-long video shot to the top of the trending charts in under an hour. A single stone can stir up 1,000 ripples. Netizens flocked to the comments section. Damn, what a drama. Faking a suicide attempt to frame someone else. That's cold. Locking his pregnant fiancée in a freezer. Is Jiang Yanbei even human? It sends chills down my spine. Locking a newly pregnant woman in a freezer for that long is nothing short of murder. 8. Meanwhile, the news about my near-fatal miscarriage and my refusal to save Zhang's mother also went viral, but netizens are all on my side. After what they did to Lin Yuyao, they still expect her to save the Jiang family. Do they think human lives are that cheap? Jiang Yanbei deserves this. Serves him right. Even though I can't see or find any information about you, beautiful lady, please, whatever you do, don't forgive him. Affected by the public outcry, the Jiang family's stocks plummeted. Jiang Yanbei was summoned to an emergency board meeting where all the directors demanded an explanation. In the end, Jiang Yanbei left with only these words, I'll handle it. Tang Qianqian was also thoroughly exposed. Netizens dug up old rumors about her cozying up to a professor while studying abroad, and further revealed her frequent appearances at dinners within multiple wealthy social circles. Photos, itineraries, and screenshots of conversations leaked out one after another. She's a certified White Lotus. She's been a manipulative green tea girl from the start. I feel so bad for the beautiful sister. Overnight, she became public enemy number one. Jiang Yanbei had a hand in this too. He hated Tang Qianqian. She was the cause of all this. That night, he ordered her to be locked in the cold storage as well. You should get a good taste of the suffering Yu Yao endured back then. Tang Qianqian pleaded for mercy through her tears, but it was no use. Jiang Yanbei stood outside my hospital room in Binhai for a full 4 hours. My brother finally couldn't take it anymore and stood up, saying to me, I'll make him leave. I nodded and turned my head to look out the window. At the door, I heard Jiang Yanbei say, I just want to see her once. My brother's voice was icy. You don't deserve to see her, Jiang Yanbei said urgently. I know I was wrong. I want to apologize to her in person. My brother said coldly. She's in a stable condition now and doesn't need to be disturbed by anyone. I am her fiancé, Jiang Yanbei said, his voice hoarse. My brother gave a cold laugh. Our Lin family is not worthy. The engagement is off. Jiang Yanbei clenched his fist. No, you can't call it off. I'll admit I was wrong. I'll make it up to her. I'll do anything. My brother cut him off. Shut up. Because of you, Yao Yao can never have children. You want to make it up to her. How, exactly? Jiang Yanbei's voice was hoarse. My brother growled, get out. Jiang Yanbei lowered his head, then suddenly looked up and shouted toward the hospital room. Yurao, I was wrong. Please, let me see you. After all these years together, how can you be so heartless? My brother snapped and punched Jiang Yanbei right in the face. Yell one more time, and I'll carry you out of here. Hearing the commotion, I turned my head toward the door. A few seconds later, I got out of bed and went to the doorway. Bro, Yao Yao, what are you doing out here? Jiang Yanbei's eyes lit up when he saw me. Yun Yao, I was wrong. I came to apologize. To beg for your forgiveness, please, give me another chance. I looked at him coldly. Jiang Yanbei, it's over between us. Don't come looking for me again. Jiang Yanbei paused. Yunyao, are you really not going to give me any chance at all? He dropped to his knees with a heavy thud. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's my fault our child is gone. Yunyao, please forgive me. Just this once. I know I was wrong. I truly do. He bowed his head and wept. His heart utterly shattered. I remained unmoved. Jiang Yanbei, the moment you refused to believe me and insisted on locking me in the cold storage, you lost your chance for good. Get lost. I turned and walked into the hospital room, not sparing him another glance. My brother snorted coldly and slammed the door shut. 9. On the day I left, the police took Tang Chanqian and Jiang Yanbei away. The charges included intentional assault, unlawful detention, and a range of financial crimes such as corporate fraud and embezzlement. The evidence was ironclad and beyond dispute. I was abroad when the verdict was announced. My brother called to tell me, Jiang Yanbei got 25 years, Tang Chanqian got 10. He also told me, his mother died too, a while back. They couldn't get the right blood from the blood bank in time. She didn't make it. I felt nothing. It has nothing to do with me anymore. My brother paused for a moment before saying, Jiang Yanbei sent word. He wants to see you. I won't see him, alright. But a few days later, a letter arrived at my house. When I opened it, I found it was the very ring I had thrown away. With dried blood still caked on it, I let out a soft, bitter laugh and tossed the ring into the trash without a second thought. After I had fully recovered, I opened a jewelry design studio abroad and Zixin saved my life, and my brother brought him into the logistics department. 6 months later, he requested a transfer to come overseas. I'd like to take care of Sister Yuyao, he said. My brother nodded in approval and so, he became my personal assistant. A year later, the personal jewelry brand I founded, YL, had gained a modest reputation within the industry. Another 6 months passed, and I adopted a little girl named Nian. She was 5 years old, with clear, innocent eyes that reminded me so much of my younger self when we first met. When she first arrived, she timidly asked me, Auntie, will you ever send me away? I held her close and said, never, from now on. We are family, we'll always be together. She smiled, like the sunshine in spring. We lived together, watering the plants in the morning, and painting or reading stories together in the evening. Nian calls me mom, and calls Zixin uncle, and life gradually settled into a steady rhythm. That evening, I took Nian for a walk by the sea. Hand in hand, we strolled along the beach. She carried a little bucket, picking up seashells and turning back to smile at me. Mommy, this one is so cute, then let's take it home to dry. The setting sun bathed the entire sea in a golden red glow. A breeze blew in, neither too cold nor too hot. Just perfect. I turned my head and saw Zixin standing not far away, holding a camera. He raised his hand to take a photo of us, capturing the scene. Holding Nian's hand, we walked slowly forward, our footprints sinking unevenly into the damp sand, walking toward our hopeful future. The end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more exciting. My wedding date with Shenzian has been postponed for the 3rd time, all because of Li Weiwei. Again over the phone, Shenzian's voice held a note of impatient reassurance. Su, Weiwei, she's not doing well again. The doctor says she can't handle any stress. Let's put the wedding on hold a little longer. Alright. I listened quietly, meticulously ironing the shirt he would wear tomorrow. I made some soup, I said. Take it to the hospital for her later. She's frail and needs the nourishment. He seemed to relax, his tone lightening. You're always so thoughtful. After hanging up, I neatly folded the freshly ironed shirt and placed it in the wardrobe. Then, I pulled the suitcase out from under the bed, its surface coated in a fine layer of dust. I didn't go to the hospital. I went to the airport. My phone kept buzzing. At first, it was Shenzian on WeChat, asking where I was. I didn't reply. Half an hour later, his call came through, his tone already edged with irritation. Lin Su, what's your problem now? Li Weiwei is still waiting for her soup. Can you stop being so difficult? I watched the clouds drift past the window and calmly powered off my phone. Peace and quiet at last. The plane touched down in a small southern town, the air thick with the damp, warm scent of vegetation. I found a guest house by the sea to stay in and got myself a new SIM card. I tossed the old SIM card into a trash bin at the pier, and with a gust of sea breeze, it vanished from my world for good. I sent a text to the realtor, authorizing him to sell my apartment in the capital. It was the only tangible memory my parents left me. That included everything inside it connected to Shenzian. From now on, consider Lin Su from the capital dead and gone. I rented an old house with a courtyard in a small town, close to the sea. Opening the window, I could smell the briny air. My landlady was a kind old woman. Seeing that I was just a young girl living alone, she would often bring me fruits and vegetables from her own garden. I began learning how to tend to the plants in the yard, how to go to the morning market with her, and how to take walks on the beach at dusk. The days passed slowly, like a cat napping in the courtyard. Occasionally, I would connect my spare phone to the Wi-Fi to catch up on the news. In the finance section, news about the Shin Group always stands out. Shin Zian, as the heir, was in high spirits and full of ambition. I just wonder what his expression will be when he realizes I'm not just throwing a tantrum, but that I've truly left him for good. Roughly a month later, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Shin Zian's mother. Her voice was as haughty and condescending as ever, laced with a tone of patronizing charity. Lin Su, enough of this little game, come back. Zian has a very important banquet next month, and you need to accompany him. She seemed utterly convinced I was just playing hard to get, waiting for the Shin family to give me a way back in. I gave a light laugh, my voice soft. Mrs. Shin, I believe you have the wrong number. I hung up and blocked her before she could even respond. I heard the Shin family's dinner party was a complete disaster, without me spending weeks smoothing over relationships, confirming the schedule, and preparing gifts. Shin Zian managed to offend several key partners at the event, and Li Weiwei, that delicate, perpetually frail beauty who needs round-the-clock care, was there in her haute couture gown, clinging to Shin Zian's arm, only to misname a crucial guest at the pivotal moment. It was an awkward situation. I read all of this in the gossip news, sipping my homemade plum wine while scrolling through these updates. I found it more entertaining than a storybook. Another month passed before Shin Zian finally tracked me down, or perhaps, he found my new number. The moment the call connected, there was a long silence on the other end. Finally, he spoke, his voice gravelly and strained. Lin Su, where are you? I didn't answer. Come back, Su, he pleaded, his voice almost a whisper. Let's have our wedding, I'll listen to you. From now on, I promise. Please, Shin Zian, I cut him off. Do you know what I hate the most? What I hate most are people who break their promises. You postponed our wedding date 3 times. The first time, Li Weiwei slit her wrists. The second time, Li Weiwei fainted. The third time, Li Weiwei's condition took a turn for the worse again. I waited for you for 7 years, from the age of 20 to 27. I gave you the best years of a girl's life. I stood by you as you rose from the overlooked second son of the Shin family to the position you hold today. I managed your connections for you, shielded you at social events by drinking on your behalf, and took care of your demanding mother. I even gave up the chance to study abroad, all for you. I thought you could see everything I sacrificed, but I was wrong. In your world, even the slightest stir from Li Weiwei matters more than all my efforts combined. Shin Zian, I'm exhausted. I don't want to wait any longer. From the other end of the line came the sound of his stifled, agonized breathing. No, Asu, it's not what you think, he pleaded urgently. My feelings for Weiwei are purely brotherly. She's not well. I can't just abandon her. Is that so? I let out a light, bitter laugh. Then by all means, keep taking care of her. May your sibling bond be deep and everlasting. With that, I hung up the phone again and blocked his number. From then on, we would be worlds apart, never to meet again. Too, I thought that was the end of it. I never imagined Shin Zian would go that far off the deep end. He mobilized the entire Shin family's network of connections, pouring in an incalculable amount of manpower and resources to conduct a nationwide, carpet-style search. It took him nearly 2 months and countless failures to finally sift through the rubble of thousands of leads and uncover the faint trace of my brief stay in this small town. Word travels fast in a small town. Soon, everyone was whispering that a powerful man from the capital was looking for a girl named Lin Su. My landlady, Granny, came to see me with a basket of eggs, her face etched with worry. Su, she said, are those people outside here for you? I nodded. An ex-boyfriend, the old woman sighed. Judging by the look of things, this won't be settled easily. If you want to lay low, you can stay at my nephew's place in the countryside for a few days. It's remote, no one will find you there. I thanked her for her kindness. Hiding isn't the answer. I haven't done anything wrong. Why should I have to skulk around like a fugitive? The one who needs to get lost is Shin Zian. That afternoon, I was in the courtyard watering the newly planted gardenias when the gate was kicked open from the outside. Shin Zian stood in the doorway, travel-worn and weary, his eyes bloodshot as if he hadn't slept for days. He looked far more haggard than he did in the news, with stubble shadowing his jaw and his expensive suit rumpled. He saw me as if I were a lifeline, rushing over in a few quick steps and reaching out to grab my hand. I took a step back, evading his grasp, his outstretched hand frozen mid-air, his face a mask of hurt and disbelief. Asu, Mr. Shen, I said flatly, breaking and entering is against the law. He seemed not to hear me, just looking at me and repeating over and over, come back with me, Asu, come back with me. We'll get married right away, I'll give you everything the Shen family owns, just come back with me. Looking at him like this, I suddenly found it rather pathetic. Shenzian, do you really think everything has a price tag, that every emotion can be measured by profit and loss? Do you think I left you because what you offered wasn't enough? You're wrong. What I truly wanted, you could never give it to me. What I want is a lover who cherishes me above all else, who always puts me first, not some so-called fiancé who treats me like a well-behaved ornament. Only to turn around and wait on another woman hand and foot. He was stunned, as if he had never considered the question before. In his eyes, I, Lin Su, am probably just a vain woman, coveting the power and status of his Shen family. If the price is right, I'll come crawling back. What do you want, then? He asked, his voice strained. I want you gone, I said, pointing at the door. Get out of my life, for good. The color drained from his face just then. My neighbor Ace, a cheerful dock worker, walked by, carrying a fresh catch of fish over his shoulder. Noticing the commotion, he poked his head in. Sue, everything all right? His eyes shifted from Shenzian to me, a hint of wariness in his gaze. Shenzian's eyes rested on A's, on his coarse, saltwater-soaked clothes and his face, weathered dark by the sea wind. His expression turned strange, a mix of anger, jealousy, and an inexplicable sense of superiority. Lin Su, you left me for a man like this. His voice turned icy. When did your taste become so poor? Before I could even speak, A's lost his temper. He threw the fish in his hand to the ground, strode 2 steps into the courtyard, and pointed at Shenzian's nose. Who the hell are you talking about? Watch your damn mouth. The bodyguards Shenzian had brought with him immediately closed in. The tension in the courtyard was palpable. I frowned and stepped in front of A's. Shenzian, this is my friend, show some respect. A friend? Shenzian sneered. What kind of friend could make you willingly stay in a godforsaken place like this? Lin Su, enough with the games. What do you want? Just say it. Money, status, or do you want me to beg you? I'm begging you. His demeanor softened suddenly as he took a step forward, trying to take my hand again. I'm begging you, Asu, come back with me. Without you, I truly can't manage anything. His voice betrayed a hint of vulnerability. In the past, I might have softened, but now, I find it utterly ironic. Not good enough. At what? At being a decent fiancé, or at being Li Weiwei's full-time caretaker, Mr. Shen. I stepped back, putting distance between us. I think you've misunderstood something. I am not your accessory, nor am I your personal assistant on call. I am a living, breathing person. I have my own feelings, my own joys and sorrows, and my own boundaries and dignity. The moment you chose to trample on my dignity, again and again, for the sake of another woman, it was over between us. Leave now, or I'm calling the police. Every single word I spoke was crystal clear. Shenzian's expression darkened, inch by inch. Even after the security guards escorted him out, the world was far from peaceful. His assistant later confided in me that after returning to the hotel that day, Shenzian locked himself in his room and smashed everything in sight. He sat amidst the wreckage on the floor, like a lost child, scrolling through the photos of us on his phone over and over, muttering under his breath, again and again, how could she leave me? How dare she leave me? For the first time, he realized that some things couldn't be obtained just by reaching out his hand. This sense of losing control plunged him into a state of immense panic and agitation. He was no longer the lofty Shenzian, but a beast cornered by his own pride and possessiveness, on the verge of madness. 3. Shenzian did not leave. He checked into the only 5-star hotel in the small town. Then, in an utterly foolish manner, he tried to win me back. He sent truckloads of roses that piled up at my gate, which I had A's haul away to feed the pigs. He sent over top-tier jewelry, which I returned to him untouched. He even bought the house next door, showing up right on schedule every single day, trying to win me back with his so-called devotion. The whole town was watching the spectacle. Everyone was gossiping about that rich young master from the capital, who'd thrown all dignity to the wind just to get his ex-girlfriend back. I just found it utterly exhausting. His arrival shattered the hard-won peace I had finally found. The neighbors' gazes toward me changed, filled with curiosity and prying interest. Granny advised me, Asu, that young man seems genuinely remorseful. Perhaps, you could give him another chance. I shook my head. Some mistakes can't be erased with a simple I'm sorry. Some wounds, once inflicted, leave a scar for life. Shenzian's relentless pestering finally pushed me past my breaking point. That day, he was waiting at my door again, holding a box of pastries from my favorite old-time bakery. Sue, try this. I had it specially flown in from the capital. I looked at him and spoke coldly. Shinzian, do you have nothing better to do? He was taken aback. Is the Shin group about to go under? Or perhaps your precious Miss Lee's condition has deteriorated to the point where she no longer requires your round-the-clock care. My words cut like a knife, draining the color from his face. Sue, please don't be like this. Like what? I retorted. I'm just stating a fact. Aren't you always busy, young Master Shin? Busy with work, busy taking care of your dear Wei Wei. What brings you all the way out to this backwater to pay me court? His mouth opened, but no complete sentence came out. Is it because your life has started to fall apart? I said it for him. The dinner was a disaster, the deal fell through, and several key projects have ground to a halt. You realized that without me, your free all-purpose assistant, you can't manage anything properly. That's why you thought of me again, isn't it? Shinzian, you don't love me, you're just used to me being good to you. The only person you've ever truly loved is yourself. He flinched, as if I'd struck a nerve, and turned his face away in a flustered manner. That's not true. I love you, ASU. I've always loved you. His voice was faint, lacking conviction. Oh, really? I laughed. Well, you certainly have a unique way of showing it. You love me, so you left me all alone at the airport to go take care of a sickly Wei Wei. You love me, so you stood me up the day before our engagement because of a single phone call from Li Wei Wei. You love me, so while I was hospitalized with a bleeding ulcer from drinking on your behalf, you were at Li Wei Wei's bedside, peeling an apple for her. With every word I spoke, the color drained further from his face. By the end, he was deathly pale, his lips trembling. He thought I was in the dark about all this. He thought Lin Su, was just a clueless fool. Enough, stop, he said, squeezing his eyes shut in anguish. What's the matter? Can't bear to hear it. I pressed on, relentless. Shinzian, if you had the guts to do it, you should have the guts to own up to it. Spare me your cheap sentiment and guilt. I don't want it. Take your things and get out of my sight. This is my final warning. I turned and went back into the courtyard, slamming the door shut behind me. Outside the door, Shinzian stood for a long time, like a soulless statue. I thought, surely this time he'd finally give up, but I never imagined he'd resort to even more extreme measures to force my hand. One evening a few days later, I received a call from an unknown number. On the other end of the line was Shinzian's assistant, her voice trembling with such urgency it was on the verge of tears. Miss Lin, you must come to the hospital right away. Mr. Shen, he's had an accident. My heart plummeted. The assistant explained that after our argument, Shinzian had drunk heavily by himself, insisted on driving up the mountain road, and ended up crashing over the cliff, car and all. When I arrived at the hospital, he was still in the emergency room. The corridor lights were a sickly white, draining all color from everyone's faces. I stared at the emergency room's tightly shut doors, and my legs felt weak. Even though I no longer loved him, I never wanted him to die. Ending things this way, with a clean break and a wish for each other's peace, is the best outcome I could have hoped for. Not in such a brutal manner. After what felt like an eternity, the doctor emerged from inside and removed his mask. The patient has multiple fractures and some internal bleeding. They're out of immediate danger for now, but will need to be monitored in the intensive care unit. All the strength drained from my body, and I slumped against the wall. The assistant approached, her eyes rimmed red. Miss Lin, Mr. Shen. He was looking at your old photos before he started drinking. My heart sank. Slowly and steadily. This was a calculated act of self-sacrifice, a desperate gambit he played with his own life on the line, all just to force me to come back, to make me relent. A chill shot from the soles of my feet straight to the crown of my head. Through the glass window of the ICU, I watched Shinzian lying on the hospital bed, pale and covered in tubes. A wave of nausea washed over me. I turned and walked away. Asu. Shinzian had actually woken up, struggling to sit up. He called out to me in a hoarse voice. The nurse hurriedly held him down. He grabbed my wrist with a frightening strength. Lin Su, don't you dare take another step. Haven't you caused enough trouble? He growled. Look at the state I'm in. What more do you want from me? Will you only be satisfied when I'm dead? I wrenched my hand free and turned to face him. Shinzian, you are truly pathetic. My voice was quiet, yet it reached his ears with perfect clarity. His expression changed, to force me to look back. You were willing to gamble with your own life. You ask me what it will take to satisfy me. Let me make this clear. From the moment you planned that car accident, whatever shred of affection was left between us is gone. You want to die, don't you? Fine, go ahead and die. If you die, I'll just consider these past 7 years wasted on a dog. I turned and walked away without looking back. Behind me was Shinzian's disbelieving, broken cry. I didn't look back, not even once. I didn't sleep a wink. All night after getting home early the next morning, I packed a small bag and said my goodbyes to Granny and Ace. I couldn't stay in this place any longer. I had to go somewhere Shinzian could never find me. Ace drove me to the station. Several times along the way, he seemed on the verge of saying something. In the end, he couldn't hold back. Ace, are you really just leaving like this? I nodded. That man, he's a bastard. But it's obvious he genuinely can't live without you, Ace, I said. Looking at the scenery rushing past the window. Do you know why a broken mirror is so hard to mend? Once a mirror is broken, even if you glue it back together, the cracks will remain. Those cracks will always be there. A constant reminder that it was once shattered. Between him and me, there's nothing left. It's shattered beyond repair. What's the point of trying to piece it back together? Ace fell silent when we got to the station. He helped me with my luggage. So, what are your plans? Now, I'm going somewhere no one knows me. To start over, I said, take care of yourself, you too. I bought a ticket for the next train heading south. The old green train clattered along, carrying all my worries and entanglements to the next stop. I don't know what the future holds, but I know it will be infinitely better than a past with Shinzian in it. 5 On the train, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Shinzian's mother. Her voice was no longer haughty, but filled with weariness and pleading. Lin-Su, I'm begging you, please come back. Zian, he's fading fast. I held the phone, saying nothing. Is this another one of his sympathy ploys? Is this another one of his life or death performances? I'm not lying to you. Madame Shen's voice trembled with tears. Ever since you left, he's locked himself in his room, refusing to eat or drink. Last night, he slit his wrist. By the time we got him to the hospital, he had almost bled out. The doctor said his will to live is very weak. If we don't do something soon, he might really. I fell silent. Lin-Su, I know our Shen family wronged you in the past. It's my fault. I indulged Zian. I turned a blind eye to Li Weiwei's presence. But Zian, he truly loves you. He's just been spoiled by us all. He never learned how to love someone properly. Give him another chance. Please, just come back. And I promise, from now on, you'll be the one calling the shots in the Shen family. I'll make that wretched Li Weiwei disappear immediately. Her words sounded utterly sincere, but I don't believe a single word of it. Madam Shen, I said calmly, if he truly wishes to die, no one can stop him. If this is just his way of forcing me to return, then I'm sorry, but I won't fall for it again. His life is his own, and has nothing to do with me. And stop using Li Weiwei as an excuse. You two are a perfect match. She's willing to hit, and you're willing to take it. You were both enjoying yourselves, but now that there's trouble, you're pinning all the blame on an outsider. You Shen family members really are as selfish as ever. With that, I hung up the phone. Outside the car window stretched vast fields of farmland, lush and vibrant, teeming with life. My new life should be just like this. The train reached its final stop, a small town I had never heard of. This place was more remote and tranquil than the coastal town I had lived in before. With the little money I had left, I rented a small courtyard. Then I went and found a job. I worked as a shop assistant in a bookstore in town. Life was simple and poor, yet it brought me peace of mind. I thought I was finally free of the nightmare that was Shinzian, but I was being naive. Half a month later, while I was organizing the bookshelf, the nursing home called. It was about my grandmother. Her voice sounded cheerful, even robust. Ah Su, how have you been lately? My heart sank. Grandma, how did you? Oh my, guess who came to see me? It's Xiao Shen. Zian, this child is so thoughtful. He said I wasn't living well here and insisted on bringing me to the capital. This place is wonderful now. There are dedicated doctors and nurses, and they take me out to get some sun every day. Asu, Grandma knows you're busy with work, but Xiao Shen has been so good to us. You can't keep avoiding him forever. When you have time, come back for a visit, won't you? Grandma misses you. I held the phone, my hands and feet turning to ice. Shenzian, you're something else, you know that. I had no choice. I bought a plane ticket back to the capital. On the plane, I stared at the clouds outside the window, my heart a desolate void. I thought I had escaped, but in truth, I was always in his cage. Upon returning to the capital, I was greeted by Shinzian's assistant. He took me directly to the Shen family's ancestral home. Shinzian was waiting for me, seated on the living room sofa. He had lost a lot of weight, his face was pale, and thick bandages were still wrapped around his wrist. Seeing me, he stood up, a sickly, triumphant smile spreading across his face. Asu, you're back. I looked at him and asked, enunciating every word, where is my grandmother? She's doing well, he said. I placed her in the best sanatorium in the capital, with a top-tier medical team providing round-the-clock care. It's a world of difference compared to that wretched place she was in before. Shinzian, what exactly do you want? What do I want? He stepped closer, reaching out to touch my face. I want you to stay by my side, and never leave me. His touch was gentle, yet it felt like being licked by a viper's tongue, sending a shiver down my spine. Do you really think that forcing me back like this will make me love you the same way I used to? It doesn't matter. He laughed, a hint of madness in his laughter. It's fine if you don't love me. As long as you're here by my side, that's enough. Lin Su, I tried. I can't let you go. I can't survive a single day without you, so, even if I have to use chains, I will keep you by my side. I looked at him and suddenly felt that the person before me was terrifyingly unfamiliar. He was no longer the Shinzian I had known for 7 years. He was a madman, a paranoid, deranged, and ruthless madman, and I am the prey he has set his sights on. There is no escape. 6. I was placed under house arrest at the Shin residence. Shinzian confiscated all my communication devices and installed surveillance cameras in the corners of my room. He assigned 2 bodyguards, not to stand guard outside my door, but to follow me everywhere. If I went to the living room, they would stand at the living room entrance. I went to the garden, and they were standing under the veranda. Even when I bathed, a maid would stand guard outside the bathroom door, under the pretext of preventing accidents. He imposed a strict daily schedule on me, dictating when to eat, read, and sleep. As if managing a prisoner. This is not a home, it is a gilded cage. Mrs. Shin came to see me once. She took my hand, her face full of remorse. Asu, it's my fault, Zian. He only did such a foolish thing because he loves you too much. Please don't blame him. She also complained that Zian wouldn't listen to anyone now. Just the other day, Li Weiwei tried to talk some sense into him, and he ended up grabbing her by the throat, warning her that if it weren't for her, I wouldn't have left. I looked at her and could only find it laughable. Too much love. Is this what the Shin family calls love? Locking someone up like a canary in a cage, clipping their wings so they can't go anywhere. It's utterly disgusting. I ignored her. From that day on, I never spoke another word to anyone from the Shin family. I was like a puppet, completely at their mercy. Eat, sleep, zone out. But I never gave up. I traced the rotation angle of the surveillance camera with my peripheral vision, calculating its blind spots. I deliberately knocked over a water glass, and while the maid was in a fluster, I quietly slipped a metal fork left on the tray into a crevice of the mattress. Shinzian comes to see me every day. He tells me about work, about the weather, about what new clothes he's bought for me. I just listened quietly, offering no response. He began to grow irritable. He would throw things and lash out at the servants. Once, he even grabbed my chin, forcing me to look at him. Lin Su, say something to me. Just say something. His eyes were bloodshot, like a beast provoked. I looked at him, my expression blank, but my eyes held an undisguised chill and contempt. In the end, he released me dejectedly, clutched his head, and sank down in agony. Asu, what do you want from me? What on earth do you want from me? I watched his pained expression, yet not a single ripple stirred in my heart. When the heart is dead, it can no longer feel pain. I can no longer remember how long these days have gone on. Then one day, the arrival of a single person shattered the stagnant calm. It was Li Weiwei. She had come alone, without informing anyone. She was wearing a white dress, her face pale, looking even more frail than before. She left her bodyguards outside and walked in alone. She stopped in front of me, her gaze fixed on me, a complex look in her eyes. Lin Su, we need to talk. I didn't move, nor did I look at her. She sat down across from me without a word and poured herself a glass of water. I know you hate me, she began, her voice barely a whisper, and you have every right to. All these years, I've been faking my illness. My heart condition isn't that severe. Most of the fainting spells, the critical condition notices, they were fabricated. I was just too scared. I was afraid you'd take Zian away from me. I've liked him since we were kids. I always thought we'd end up together when we grew up. But then, you came along. You're better than me, more capable than me, and Aunt Shin likes you more. I watched as Zian's attention slowly shifted from me to you. I panicked, so I resorted to this clumsy, desperate way to keep him by my side. I thought that if I stayed sick, he would keep pitying me and stay with me forever. I succeeded, didn't I? She said with a self-mocking laugh. I successfully drove a wedge between you, and made him choose me over you, again and again. But I never imagined you would leave. You left so cleanly, so decisively. After you left, Brother Zian went mad. As she said this, a barely perceptible twist appeared at the corner of her mouth, seeming like both satisfaction and fear. He became a different person, obsessive, volatile, even self-destructive. He threw me out of the Shin family. He said if it weren't for me, You never would have left him, he blamed me for everything. Why, she whispered, her voice thick with hatred. After all these years of playing a part for him, I end up as the scapegoat for his madness. Li Weiwei looked at me, tears falling from her eyes. Lin Su, I didn't come here today to beg for your forgiveness, I came to beg you to save him, and to save yourself. She looked at me, her eyes shifting through a spectrum of emotions, from jealousy to resentment, until finally settling into a desperate, all-or-nothing resolve. She slipped a note into my palm. He has a very important meeting at the office this afternoon, and the conference room is signal blocked. I'll find a way to distract the guards at the door. The car at the back door will take you to a safe place. Go, Lin Su, go as far away as you can. And never come back. I looked at the note in my palm, then raised my eyes to meet hers. Why? I asked, bewildered. Why would she help me? Li Weiwei wiped her tears and gave a bitter smile. Because I don't want to see him die. He's already been driven mad by his obsession. If this continues, he'll destroy himself, and he'll destroy you too. And frankly, seeing him like this, it scares me. Lin Su, I'm helping you. But not because I'm some noble person, I just don't want to be a prop in his sick love story anymore. And I certainly don't want to be the next lunatic he chains up, she added. Consider it my way of repaying you. With that, she stood up and left the room. I clutched the note with the rout, a tumult of emotion swirling inside me. I never imagined that the one who would ultimately help me escape this prison would be the woman I hated most. That afternoon, Shenzian indeed went to the office. I was waiting anxiously when I suddenly heard Li Weiwei's piercing scream from downstairs. Ah, let go of me, help. This was immediately followed by the sound of a heavy thud and the loud crash of shattering porcelain. The two bodyguards at the door exchanged a glance and immediately rushed downstairs. My heart leapt into my throat. I knew my chance had come. Following the route on the note, I hugged the wall and ran towards the back door. Just as I rounded the corner of the garden, a patrolling bodyguard came walking straight towards me. Terrified, I shrank behind a thicket of rose bushes. Holding my breath, the bodyguard's footsteps drew closer, and my palms were slick with cold sweat. Just then, a piercing fire alarm suddenly blared from the direction of the main building. The bodyguard cursed and immediately turned to run toward the main building. I breathed a sigh of relief. Knowing this was Li Weiwei's backup plan, I didn't dare waste a moment and sprinted straight to the back door. A black sedan was already waiting there. I pulled open the car door and got in. The driver started the car without a word. The car pulled out of the Shen family estate and merged into the traffic. Watching the scenery fly past the window, I felt a sense of unreality. I was free. I am truly, finally free. 7. The car dropped me off at a remote, desolate pier. The driver handed me a ferry ticket and an envelope. Miss Lee said you should go somewhere no one knows you and start over. Inside the envelope is some money she prepared for you, along with a new identity card. I took the envelope and said, thank you. I boarded the ship bound for a foreign country. Standing on the deck, watching the coastline fade into the distance, my tears finally fell. Goodbye, capital city. Goodbye, Shenzian. Goodbye, my love that died over 7 long years. The ship sailed across the sea for 3 days and 3 nights. I arrived in a foreign land. I didn't speak the language and knew no one. The first days were tough. I could only use gestures to buy groceries, and to save money, I ate just 2 meals a day. I'd memorize vocabulary under the lamplight at night and wash dishes at the restaurant by day, my fingernails perpetually caked with grime. But watching the numbers in my passbook slowly climb, my heart felt full. A year later, I could finally manage a halting conversation with customers in the foreign language and was moved to a front-of-house position. My life was gradually getting on track. I thought I had closed the book on my past for good, that is, until one day, I caught a glimpse of a familiar face on the restaurant's TV. It was Shenzian. He was being interviewed by an international financial network as a distinguished young entrepreneur. He looks much more mature than he did a year ago. There's less brashness and more composure in his eyes and expression. The host asked him, Mr. Shen, your career is so successful. You're the envy of many. On a personal level, is there any unfulfilled wish you still have? He fell silent for a long time. Then, he turned to the camera and began to speak. Slowly, his voice traveled across the airwaves, reaching every corner of the world. It also came through, crystal clear, into my own ears. He said, I want to find my love, to tell her I'm sorry. My hand trembled, and the chopsticks from my plate clattered to the floor. The proprietress came over and asked with concern, Ah Sue, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? I shook my head and forced a smile. It's nothing. I'm just a little tired. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought I had forgotten him, but when he reappeared, I realized those 7 years of memories were like a brand seared into my bones, impossible to erase. I'm afraid he'll find this place. I'm afraid the peaceful life I've worked so hard to build will be shattered by him once again. I never thought he'd actually show up that day. The wind chime at the restaurant tinkled. I looked up and said out of habit, "Welcome," and then I froze completely. Standing at the door was Shinzian. He was wearing a black trench coat, his figure tall and straight, his eyes fixed on me. He walked toward me, step by deliberate step. A crowd of people followed in his wake. There were diners from the restaurant, and passers-by on the street. Everyone stopped in their tracks and stared at us. He walked up to me and came to a halt. Then he did something I could never have imagined in my wildest dreams. He knelt down on one knee and pulled a velvet box from his coat. He opened the box to reveal a brilliant diamond ring. Inside, Asu, he looked up at me, his eyes rimmed red. I know I was wrong. I destroyed everything we had with my own hands. It took me a whole year to realize that without you, the world I have is meaningless. I don't ask for your forgiveness. I only ask for one more chance, a chance to win you back. This time, I won't let you suffer even a moment's hurt. I'll lay the very best the world has to offer at your feet. Asu, will you marry me? A collective gasp and murmur of surprise rippled through the crowd. All eyes were on me, waiting for my answer. I looked at Shinzian kneeling before me. This man who was once so aloof and imperious, he is proposing to me now, in the most abject posture. His eyes were rimmed with red, yet within them lurked a stubborn, unyielding determination. Any other woman would likely be utterly moved, but I only find it absurd. I laughed. I took off my apron and threw it on the table. Then, looking straight at him, I enunciated each word with perfect clarity. Shinzian, listen carefully. I won't marry you. I didn't want to before, I don't want to now, and I never, ever will. If you want to pursue me, that's your business, but whether or not I accept it is mine. Now, please, get the hell out of my world. With that, I turned my back on him without another glance and walked into the kitchen, shutting out all the noise behind me. I went to the sink, turned on the tap, and washed my hands over and over. Shinzian, you will never understand. What I've always wanted was never the cage you built with money and guilt. What I want is freedom, dignity, and these hands capable of carving out my own destiny. Your world holds no more appeal for me. 3 years later, a small town on the Mediterranean coast, my private Chinese restaurant has become a bit of a local hotspot. In the pleasant afternoon sun, I sat under the grapevines in the courtyard with a few new friends, sipping homemade limoncello and discussing the new menu for the next quarter. In the photos A's sent from back home, Shin Group's stock price had plummeted. Word is, Shinzian's one wrong investment move nearly cost his family half their fortune. Meanwhile, Li Weiwei had completely broken free from the Shin family, becoming a somewhat well-known traveling painter who roamed the world. My phone rang. It was a call from the restaurant to confirm our reservation. I answered with a smile, conversing fluently in the local language. Sunlight filtered through the gaps in the grape leaves, casting dappled shadows on my face. Warm and free, this is the life I truly want. The end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. See you in the next video.